Alright. Welcome to the comic shop. I am your clerk, as always, the wild card Ace Williams, and with me, my superhero sidekick,
Deadly Dave.
and the returning
Marcadius.
Marcadius. Oh yeah! And no, we are not the villain club. That's coined and phrased somewhere else, so please don't sue us. God, I hope we don't get sued. Marty, please don't. Today on our show for the comic shop, we're going to talk about the Spider-Man Far From Home movie review. Spoilers galore.
If you haven't seen it yet, what the fuck are you doing?
Right, Mysterio dies at the end. There you go. I ruined it. If you haven't seen it, there's your spoiler warning.
You just like to shit in the cereal, don't you?
Hey,
Sorry.
there is no cereal until I shit. So, but before we get into that fun stuff of spoilering, I'm gonna give a quick little rundown of like what's new, like in my movie collection, what's out to buy, and what you might not want to watch, because some of this isn't really that good. But first on my list is the new Hellboy. I hated the Ron Perlman ones.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority
I
with
couldn't
this.
really get into those, no.
Right. I'm much in the minority of that. I don't really care for the Ron Perlman Hellboys. I fell asleep maybe 3 times during the second one. That just tells you
The
everything.
second one was bad.
Yep.
But this got a shitty like review, and people did or didn't like it. I loved it.
Which to
I
me,
loved
usually,
it.
when it gets a shitty review, usually I end up liking it.
Right.
For some reason.
Now the story's a little convoluted. It's a little over the top and weird all over the place. But again, you're dealing with a character called Hellboy, so you can really not have to have it be realistic in any means. So you just go crazy with it. There's a character in it called the Baba Yaga, the witch. You hear that name all over the place now. Just the creepiest fucking character I think I've seen in a movie in a long time. Very creepy character. Eats children. They got a contortionist to play the character, so no matter what the character's doing in the movie, even if it's just pure dialogue, it's twisting and
cool.
bending and contorting and sliming, and it's visually amazing.
It's cool that they're not doing that with CGI. They actually got somebody to actually physically do it.
there's so
That's cool.
many practical effects in it. Like there's this one guy, well, not guy, but character called Grugak or something like that, but they call him just Gru for short, and he is literally a giant pig man. Now think of a pig man based off of like the old Power Rangers TV
Yeah,
show.
that's what I went to.
Okay, Pigsy or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah.
It was good for the time, but yeah, it's like, no, maybe if you're making a pig suit, it should be CGI, like Bebop and Rocksteady, right?
Yeah.
They nailed it with the animatronics, the practical body suit. It looks awesome in this movie. Yes, there's a lot of CGI because they're fighting giants
Right,
at one
they
point.
have to, yeah.
Right. Awesome movie. I just check it out. Mark, did you watch it yet?
I did.
What'd you think?
I watched it because I knew you'd watch it.
Batman
I
and the
liked
Ninja Turtles.
I liked it.
I liked it a lot myself. We both have read the
It
book.
was pretty true to the comic.
Exactly. We both read the comic. We both know it pretty well. The Turtles were really funny in this. I really enjoyed the way the Turtles were represented.
Yes.
They just were very...
I like how they all had like a Batman, like a character, like Leonardo and Batman were like friends.
We're friends because of a different reason. Is that what you mean or no? Like, what do you mean?
Well, like Donnie and Batgirl were like friends.
Okay.
And then Mikey and Alfred were like friends.
Right, and then Damien and Raph
Yes.
were like buddies because they were the aggressors and
I
stuff.
like how they all had like could relate to each other that
Mm-hmm.
way.
It was. I love Mikey in it. Just seeing him on top of the T-Rex with the bat cape on, like,
Yeah.
come on, that's Michelangelo wearing Batman's suit. I'm sorry for wearing your hat. Like, I love that shit. The only problem I had with it, and I think I said this to you when I read the comic, is, and maybe I didn't. I don't like the way the villains were. Kind of spoiler alert, but not mutated.
Well, you didn't like that?
No, like, I think Joker could have been way cooler if he wasn't a Cobra. Like, it looked too cartoony once they mutated.
It totally did.
Like,
But they did it in
You
the
want it to
comic.
be more reality-based than...
No, because, like, if they're gonna mutate, let them mutate, but they look way too much like an animal. Without... Like, Joker's Cobra, he turns into a king cobra.
Yeah.
He looked like a white cobra with red lipstick and just green hair put on top.
That sounds fucking weird.
Two-Face. I didn't understand why Two-Face was a cat.
Yeah.
When he mutated and had 2 cat heads. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why does he have to be a cat person? Why can't he just be a mutant with 2 heads?
Mr. Freeze was cool.
Mr. Freeze was awesome. He was a giant polar bear. He
cool.
was sweet. Bane was kind of weird. Again, why was he a cat? He was like a giant cheetah man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? He should be a gorilla or something,
Yeah.
like crazy. But those are just nitpickings. I mean, the movie was really great.
That is one I plan on getting.
It's he let me borrow this, so this is actually Mark's. Cadius's.
Gotta use kayfabe names here.
This movie I have not watched, Nightcrawler. Just picked it up. I've only picked it up because of, well, we'll talk about Far From Home with Jake Gyllenhaal being in Spider-Man. When he was, casted at this, there was a lot of talk about, oh, Jake Gyllenhaal's an amazing actor, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. This movie is, like, recommended as, like, one of his best because it's, like, a psychological, like, messed up thriller. I've never seen it, but from reading the back of it, it sounds very different. He is, like, an underground, like, street-level photographer that photos, like, car accidents, murders, and stuff like that, and then sells these pictures, and apparently he gets too deep into that lifestyle and starts to become his biggest fan, which I'm interpreting as he's probably creating moments of horror, which you could...
Oh, for his own pleasure.
For his own pleasure to get over on that. So I like that kind of movie. I like those psychological thrillers like that. So that's the only reason I'm mentioning this one is because Jake Gyllenhaal and... Man, he's come a long way from Bubble Boy, huh? Think about it. Like,
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. He was never in the sequel, was he? Did you see the sequel?
No.
I didn't either. I think that one was all about his sister.
Wasn't that like Christian Slater?
I don't remember. I've never seen it. Like I said, I thought it was all about his sister. And last but certainly not least, the one that you might skip. We are actually, Dave and I were discussing bringing another friend of ours onto the show, a Mr. Fisher. I did that, I don't know why. Because he's a big horror movie buff.
Yeah, we definitely need to do a horror episode.
Yeah, and I'm a horror movie guy. Dave has dabbled a little bit in
so much,
certain stuff. He knows some stuff.
I know some things.
But Pet Sematary, the newest one, I enjoyed this movie immensely until the third act. Once it got to the third act, I was taken right out of the movie. I had no interest in it. I was derailed. Normally we're off the rails, and by golly, it didn't stop with the show ending. It's 100% like the original Pet Sematary if you've seen it, until the third act. And then it's like, I get you're trying to be original, I get you're trying to add a new flair to the flavor, but stick to the script.
Yeah.
That's all I'm really going to say about it. It's you. I gave you a copy of it, so you can watch it when you get a time to. John Lithgow, awesome. I love almost anything that guy's in.
I don't think I've ever seen anything bad.
No, and even a horror movie. Like, I know you're not. Why don't you like horror movies? Just because
it's just not my genre. I'll watch Friday the 13th. I'll watch the Freddy Krueger movies. It's just not. It's not my thing. If you're not, like, are you more, if you watched a horror movie, are you more like, I'd rather see the scares than the blood and gore? I'd rather see the blood and gore, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more for, like, the interesting kills and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not really
Well, I was just going to say,
for
for John Lithgow, if you really like him, Twilight Zone, the movie.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, I recommend it to the world. Dan Aykroyd's in it. John Lithgow, there's like 4 mini movies in the Twilight Zone movie. John Lithgow's is by far the most terrifying, the most awesome. His video is the best. It's all about him being on an airplane in the middle of like a thunderstorm and him seeing a monster on the outside of the plane and nobody else believes him. So, very interesting shit. But John Lithgow's in that. If you like him, I recommend that. It's really good. And Dexter, season 4, the best season of them all. He was the main bad guy in it. He was the Trinity Killer. I fucking loved it. But this movie was okay. At best, it's okay.
What would you give it, like, out of 10?
Out of 10, because I love the concept of it and my nostalgia factor, I'm going to give it like a 7.
Okay.
But as an overall movie, if there wasn't another one before it, this was the first, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 because there's nothing to compare it to. And unfortunately, we live in a world where you do reboots semi, like Jumanji, you always are going to compare it to what came before.
That'd be like if they did another Goonies, like you're going to compare
You're
it to.
going to.
Yeah,
even if it has the original actors in it as the parents this time, and their kids are trying to raise money to save the day, you're going to compare it to the original. Exactly. So, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad I bought it because I love my horror movies, but it's okay. I know there's another movie out that I want to see, Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, I forgot.
Me too. I've never seen it. I know that's out. That's pretty much...
That's not selling very well as far as seeing the DVD sales. Usually when the new releases come out, they sell like crazy. But
yeah, well,
Hellboy is.
Well, when I just went to... I didn't even know that was out when I was in Walmart after work Saturday. I just didn't even look at movies. I'm just walking... Or yesterday. Jesus, today's Sunday. Just walking by the movies, not even gonna look at them, and I see the Hellboy display, and I'm like, well, shit, there goes $20 right there, because I have to buy this movie.
Do you want to talk about the Howard the Duck experience I had?
We'll get to that one. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, well, Dave's got a very interesting Howard the Duck story that I am going to rip apart, because I just love that shit, and I'm glad you said that, because there's my Howard the Duck Funko right up there. I love Howard. That's pretty much it for new movies that are out. I bought a couple other movies, like Disney's Brave, for my daughter to watch and myself to watch. I'm sure it's a good one. Marcadia says it's pretty cool.
That's good.
You seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, it's unanimous. 2 out of 3 have said it's good, so it must be good. Good. On that note, yes, before we get into the little bit of Phase 4 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, before we talk about that, Dave, I hand it to you, my friend.
So, I work at Walmart, spoiler alert. And yes, we have lives, we don't just do this. I was talking to one of the workers, and my co-workers, and he was like, oh, well, what are we going to watch on our lunch break? And we were looking through the movies, and there was Howard the Duck. I was like, oh, we should get Howard the Duck. So he bought it. We walk up to the checkout line, and we have it on the belt. And the guy behind us goes, oh, well, that's based on DuckTales, the cartoon, right?
Oh, my God.
And I said, no, it's not. He's like, yeah, they totally ruined that cartoon with that movie. I was like, no, it's based on a fucking Marvel comic book. It's not about DuckTales at all. I don't remember a scantily clad Leah Thompson being part of DuckTales.
Now, I'm going to throw my 2 cents into this. Guy, you are an asshole! Oh my God, I'm constantly told, John, oh shit, kayfabe. Oh no! I'm constantly told, Ace, you are too opinionated. Fair enough, but my opinions also are backed up 90% with facts. Can you guys agree or disagree with that?
Yeah.
I do a lot of research before I open my gullet. This guy, I don't know who you are. And if I find you and you ever tell me this, I will slap you down so fast that you won't even be able to say anything. I don't even know anything. Can't even insert anything funny right there because you just got me so mad. One is a Disney property. Well, they both are now, technically.
Yeah.
But DuckTales is a Disney property. At the time, actually, was it Disney at the time? Has it always been Disney, DuckTales?
Yeah.
Okay. So DuckTales has always been Disney at the time. When that movie, Howard the Duck, came out, that was barely even under the Marvel banner. Like,
and DuckTales wasn't even a thing.
Wasn't even a thing. Now, you can clearly, if you watch Howard the Duck and you watch DuckTales, there is a whole different energy between them. Like you said, scantily clad, right? Are those the words you said? Leah Thompson, which I saw her last year at Boston Comic Con, and ooh, what a babe!
Yep.
Beverly Switzler, that's her name in the movie. She is sexy. And there are a pair of duck tits. When he's getting ripped through the portal in the beginning of the movie, there is a naked duck woman taking a bath, and you can see duck boobies. You're never going to see that in DuckTales. You're only going to see DuckTales in DuckTales. Okay, they don't even wear pants, and all you see are DuckTales. Now, a little history of DuckTales. Scrooge McDuck is one of his favorite characters of all time. Huey, Louie, and Dewey are his nephews. Their cousin is fucking Donald Duck, who is another Disney property.
Who makes cameos.
Yep. And I don't know if Daffy Duck's part of it, but we're just going to throw him in there because obviously assholes can just say whatever they want. And why should I differentiate
And he was so adamant about it. Oh, it was DuckTales. I'm like, dude. At that point, as soon as we paid for it, I just fucking walked away after I said it because I just was done.
In the great and immortal words of the Hall of Famer, the five-time Booker T, Shucky Ducky, quack quack.
I wish you would have been there because you would have tore him a new asshole. It would have been hilarious.
I would have left his old asshole apart, just left it the way it was, and just that new one right like that. Like how Superman rips his shirt open, I would have done that to the crevice that would have been his ass.
That would have been a viral video for sure.
Holy granola bars. That would have been on our stuff here. That would have been great video content.
I just recently watched Howard the Duck.
Did you? What do you... Talk about it, man.
I liked it.
I love Howard the Duck. Who directed it?
George Lucas.
George fucking Lucas. Isn't that just random?
It blew my mind.
And even though it was, in the 80s, I still think it holds up.
It holds up very well. Tim Robbins is great as what I don't know what his character is, just the wacky scientist. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget his name now.
That song got stuck in my head pretty good.
Yeah. The soundtrack, I like the soundtrack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What the hell is Jeffrey Jones? I love Jeffrey Jones. I know. I don't know what our viewers ever think because no one ever really gives us feedback. But I know personally, for me, Jeffrey Jones went to prison for like some kind of like sexual abuse thing, like years and years and years and years ago. That's why he's never really had another resurgence in movies. He's in small stuff. I love him as an actor.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, Howard the Duck, Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. He was
wasn't he in Ferris Bueller too?
Yeah, I think so.
Was he?
Yeah. Wasn't he like the principal or something in Ferris Bueller?
Gosh, I can't remember, to be honest with you. That's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Bueller. Bueller. Jeffrey Jones. Did he die?
I don't know.
He maybe got like too much red in his eye. Couldn't use
Clear
eyes, yeah, whatever the fuck he was promoting.
Yes,
Howard the Duck. I love Howard the Duck. I think he's a great character. He's made 2 cameo appearances in the MCU, which is a great segue for what we're going to discuss right now. Now, we're not going to get full detail on the Phase 4 of the MCU. We just kind of want to stay a little up to date and kind of relevant with current event kind of stuff. But what I do have here for the Phase 4, I'm just gonna go through what's coming up, and then in our next episode, it's gonna be full on MCU Phase 4. So what we've got coming up, actually, I gotta give a couple shout outs that I told you about. There are 2 podcasts, well there's more than 2, but there's 2 really big podcasts that I watch religiously, day by day, video by video.
Besides this one,
because this is SmackDown #1 or shit. How do you do it? Podcast the #1.
You sounded like Borat on that one.
You're never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. And then you got it.
How many pubic hairs?
Whoa! Oh, God! Oh.
You can't pay in pubic hairs.
Oh my God! Doll hairs? We're off the rails. But no, the 2 podcasters that I watch all the time. So this is where I get a lot of my information, other than when I read my own comics and come up with my own fan theories and shit. But Matt Jarbo at 3 Buck Theater and Josh Lucas, not the actor, Josh Lucas of Den of Nerds. I reached out to both of them. They've got over 1 million subscribers, so I can't even believe that they gave me feedback. I told them that we do a podcast. We're not super huge. We're not trying to ride their coattails. I love what they put out. I want viewers to go see their stuff because it helps our stuff.
Yep.
Revolving door. I just watched Lion King. It's a circle of life. You know what I mean? That's how it works. So yes, $3 Theater with Matt Jarbo. He's awesome. He's got really informative stuff. He does a lot of on the spot kind of things. Like he just went to San Diego Comic-Con. He's got a lot of stuff out there. And Josh Lucas with Den of Nerds, that guy puts out videos left and right, and they are just the best quality for anything you guys want, any of this comic book stuff that you want to know. And I just want to give those guys a shout out. So on that note, back to Phase 4. The films, and these are the order that they're supposed to be in. A Black Widow movie, The Eternals, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Can't wait for that one. And Thor, Love and Thunder. Womp womp. Which is unfortunate because when they announced Thor 4 Friday before San Diego Comic-Con, I texted you. I was like, Thor 4, it's gonna happen! And then when the news about what it's about came out, I lost all interest.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to jump on that wagon. I'm always riding.
Yep.
I'm not, but it just seems very.
You could have just brought her back as the love interest and that be it.
And
Really?
we'll get into that even more in depth next time. But that's just a little bit about that. Yes, the TV shows, which we're all excited about. I know all of us are.
Hell yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Can't wait for that. My biggest excitement about that is the fact that Zemo, I forget his name, Brule. I don't remember what his first name is. But the actor that was Zemo in Civil War, who was the main antagonist, no superpowers, just a smart guy, manipulated everybody, will be returning as the main villain in this show. He put on his Instagram a photo of him, a blurred photo, wearing the purple mask. And you know, I was so like, where's the mask in Civil War?
Yeah, we wanted a mask so bad.
I wanted the purple mask so bad. It will be making its debut in that show. Can't wait. WandaVision, I'm excited for that because that show, both of these shows are post-Endgame.
Yep.
So WandaVision, clearly Vision's going to come back to life. They're going to figure out how. I think that has a lot to do with Black Panther's technology and stuff like that. Not really sure. But it ties directly into Doctor Strange 2, which I think there's going to be the House of M. I think we're going to get mutants introduced in the Doctor Strange movie. We'll get into that because I can go all day on that one. I can't wait. Loki is post-Endgame, but the timeline is him immediately after the first Avengers. So him just going through the universe and galaxy.
He got a huge reaction at
Oh,
Comic-Con
yeah, he
too.
did.
They were chanting Loki and
He's
everything.
Tom Hiddleston, that guy,
yeah.
you can't get rid of him now. You cannot get rid of that guy. He's amazing. The What If, I'm excited for that because What If comics are my, like, you gave me a few of them with those Daredevil ones that you gave me a few years ago.
Really?
Yup. There was a What If Silver Surfer wore the gauntlet.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, what if, I think there was one, what if Wolverine was the Punisher or something like that. I love What If comics. So the fact that they're going to do an animated What If movie or TV show or whatever the length of it will be, I love it.
And the MCU characters are going to do their
Are
own
voicing their own
Yep.
characters. And the first one that they're doing is, what if Peggy Carter took the Super Soldier Serum instead of Steve Rogers?
No kidding.
Hey,
That's cool.
I'm cool with that, man.
Wow.
Everybody in the MCU and that loves these movies, they love Haley Atwell, who is Peggy Carter. Because of Marcadius, he was able to provide me with her TV shows,
Oh, yeah.
the Agent Carter, so I watched
They
both
were
of
good.
them. They were good.
I like them.
Season 1 dragged a little because I don't know if they knew what they were doing. Season 2 was awesome.
Yeah.
I was pissed that they didn't do a third season.
Yeah, they said it right off.
Seems to be the thing now.
Oh, it was such a great ending because the ending had you had two main characters. I forget what the good guy's name was. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the young guy.
The young guy, right,
Yeah.
the young detective.
I liked him.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He's sitting in his apartment, they saved the world. He's kind of just relaxing. Knock at the door. You as the viewer, you don't even know who it is. He opens up the door. He has this look of like, what are you doing here? And then all of a sudden,
Bang.
bang! That's the end of the series. You don't know who shot him. You don't know why he got shot. You don't know if he's dead. I don't know, and I was bummed. So if they do more what ifs, please do a what if we did a season 3 of Agent Carter, because I need to know. And then last but not least, Hawkeye. He was probably the well, no, I always say Ant-Man was the breakout star in Endgame.
Yes.
Hawkeye was right there.
Yep.
He was right there with being one of the most memorable characters in Endgame, personally, for me. So the fact he's going to get his own show, I love it because he's so downplayed. Everybody looks at him as a joke. He's not. He is a badass. I can't wait for his show. It's going to introduce Kate Bishop, which is his predecessor in the Young Avengers, to become the new Hawkeye. I think that's really dope. Can't wait. I'm an idiot, so I'm not going to talk about the timeline. I'll let Dave do that. Dave, what are the timelines?
2020 and 2021.
We don't need to go any further why I'm an idiot, but just know this. They said Phase 4 starts with Black Widow, and they say Phase 3 ends with Endgame. There's a little movie called Far From Home, which we will discuss, that takes place in between those movies. It's up to you to figure out what phase that is.
This is a multiverse. It's not really part of the phase, you know.
That's a good point. I'll say that's in Phase 3.5. I got the directors written here. We don't need to get into all this, but we have to talk about the greatest announcement they've ever made at a San Diego Comic-Con regarding the MCU, other than the first slate of these movies. Blade.
I'm so happy Blade's coming back.
Blade is coming to the MCU. Not a TV show, not a what if, not a fucking fart in the wind. Full on movie.
And an Academy Award winner as the main star.
Two-time Academy Award winner, Mahershala Ali, who was Cottonmouth, which I really loved him in Luke Cage. He was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. I guess that kind of throws some I don't know what the right word is, but it throws something in there to be like, wait a minute, if he was in that as this, how is he in this and that? Don't think about it. Because if you do think about it, Mariah Stokes. That's how I have to say her name every time now because of season 2 of Luke Cage. I have to say it with a Jamaican accent. Because Mariah Stokes was in season 2 and 1 of Luke Cage, but that actress was also in Civil War. The black lady that confronts Tony Stark.
Oh, okay.
Which is a nice tie into this movie again. She was the black lady that's like, my son died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was 2 different characters in the MCU. Yep. This guy is too, but he's Blade. It just shadows anything else right now. That we don't have any other information other than he is Blade. It's 100% confirmed. He came out wearing the hat. They showed the logo.
And I like that they made that the major announcement.
Exactly. There was no... Because, all these... Everything else right here has been rumors.
Yeah.
Has already been okay, we know this might happen. Blade, that was maybe someday.
Yeah, I don't even remember it being on the radar.
Well, you and I talked about it, maybe, because how they did Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe they'll do Blade like that. Maybe they'll do Blade in, the Netflix universe.
Yeah.
But knowing Blade... And this has been confirmed by Kevin Feige already. Blade will be with the Avengers. What? You're telling me there's going to be a Daywalker, half man, half vampire throwing down with the likes of a Captain America, whether it's Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes, a Thor? I hope it's not Jane Foster. But Doctor Strange, that's just going to be nuts, man. I cannot wait for Blade. That is, other than Doctor Strange, my most anticipated Marvel movie by far that I haven't known about. I just can't wait for Blade, and unfortunately, you and I have talked if they did Blade, it'd be cool if Wesley Snipes came back. The dude looks the part, he could be the part. He's only 57, and when I say only, black don't crack. It's just the way it is, right?
And you're continuing the story anyway, so it's not like it has to.
I don't know if they're continuing it.
Well, I mean, if they were going to have him, they'd be continuing it.
Exactly. So you didn't have to do a reboot of it.
Right.
And even then, who knows if this is a reboot of it? He might be that same Blade.
Yeah.
We don't know
Maybe
anything.
He'll make a cameo.
We've talked. It'd be cool if Blade was Wrestler. Did you say that too, or I think we had that.
No, I was saying I wanted Kurt Russell
to
be
we
like
did
Whistler's
say
brother or something. You know
then
I
was thinking of it. It'd be kind of cool if Snipes came back as the new Whistler. Like
Yeah.
he was the guy, or bring Blade in as the villain.
Yeah.
Or not Blade. I'm sorry. Snipes in as the
Yeah.
villain. Let him be Deacon Frost, because Deacon Frost is Blade's biggest villain. Like yes, he fought Dracula, but fuck off. That movie, piss poor, shit ass attempt at a shit ass Blade ass.
I don't know how you looked at that guy and said, "Oh, that's Dracula." Like that
No.
actor to me just did not fit that part whatsoever.
And I've never enjoyed that actor even after that Blade movie until Legends, because he's Mick, the fire guy there. What the hell's his name? I can't think of it.
Rory?
Yeah, he's Rory.
Really?
Yes, that's Dracula from Blade. Which Rory is my absolute favorite character in Legends of Tomorrow. So it's kind of funny how I hate him in this, but I adore him in this.
Oh my god.
So I just always thought that was really kind of cool.
Cool.
Oh, you know a movie I forgot I wanted to mention that I did pick up and I did watch was, getting off the MCU real quick, was Shazam. I saw the new movie Shazam. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I was thinking about picking that up too.
Absolutely loved it. I went into it like, this is gonna be dumb. This is gonna be. It was a great movie. There's so many nods to the Justice League. Like, there is a version of every Justice League character in that movie. Like, if you see, you'll see what I mean when you watch it. But a really cool, quick little cameo. The guy that was in Batman and Robin in the very beginning, that basically created Bane and Poison Ivy, that scientist. I'm a movie buff, so I love connecting dots. He was in that movie 20 years ago, and he was actually in Shazam as well, which I thought was like, oh, that's cool. That guy's in a DC movie. He's in another DC movie. No relevance. I'm just rambling. I love that shit. But it kind of does bring us to the end of the topic of Phase 4, unless you guys want to add something.
One thing I do like is that they're only announcing 2020 and 2021. They're not announcing anything else.
Right.
Just leave speculation open. They can do end credit scenes that, talk about future movies.
Well, that's what I think. I think a lot of these movies are going to tell you what Phase 5 will be. Like, and most of them do. Like, I gotta elaborate, I guess. Like you said, the end credit scene sets up mostly for the next movie, unless it's an Avengers thing where it's like, okay, this is going to set up a bigger moment. But I truly believe, if we want to get a little teeny bit into this real quick, Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings. That has been talked about, the Ten Rings, since Iron Man 1. They are finally going to do the Mandarin. The real Mandarin. Not Ben Kingsley's portrayal of a fake version of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. They are really going to do an old Chinese wizard with superpowers that wears 10 rings, that can control elements, that can control the... I can't wait for that. It's been scattered throughout the years that the 10 rings is here. So there's, that kind of stuff overarchs. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, bringing in Wanda. Those two have a feud in the House of M, which is a X-Men comic book, and Doctor Strange actually defeats Wanda because she is the villain in that story arc. I can see them doing that, and you doing that means you're going to introduce, just like Kevin Feige said, he didn't say he didn't say X-Men. He referred to them strictly as mutants.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to get introduced, my personal opinion.
And he loves doing that. He loves making references and so people can speculate.
I didn't even get time to talk about the Fantastic Four. When he said that, people went ape shit.
Yeah.
And that's all he said. He goes, I didn't have time to mention the Fantastic Four, and people just went nuts for that.
I think because they want you to speculate. Like, they love that shit.
You already really know my thoughts on the Fantastic Four. I already gave you my rundown with that. So we'll get into all that next time on the Comic Shop.
That'll be a 5-hour episode, probably.
It'll be a 10-hour episode, because this right here is 5.
He's got notes on notes.
I got notes on notes. I'm not even done taking notes. Like, look, I've got the casting. I'm gonna have the characters. I'm gonna tell you who they are. Like, I'm stoked and ready to be stroked.
Wait, can I see that?
What? I just
casting?
said no. No, it's only.
There's only like 5 people. So
Tom Hanks.
Oh my God! Can we just talk about Tom Hanks real quick?
Oh God.
We got to talk about Tom Hanks. He's probably my favorite actor. You know this. Years ago now, him and I were talking about casting an idea for the Fantastic Four. Who did I say should play every character in the Fantastic Four? Tom Hanks. He should be everybody. Invisible Woman, Reed Richards, The Thing, Doctor Doom, Human Torch. Tom Hanks can be them all.
Good.
But have you guys seen the trailer for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
Yes. Just watched.
How awesome! Come on,
and I've
you
seen
guys.
the documentary that came out last
How
year,
amazing!
which is good
And
too,
how amazing does this look?
Yeah, it does.
Because this is like a documentary biography movie. It looks on. I can't wait.
Like he did good playing Walt Disney, so you know.
Yup. So you mentioned Tom Hanks. We had to say that because, I mean, Mr. Rogers touched 50 years of generations of people, right? My mom was just telling me. My mom is 87 years old tomorrow. She's not that old. She's like 85. So she was telling me she watched Mr. Rogers when she was little. So that was, what, 97 years ago already. So it's amazing that, my daughter, who's only 3, is going to grow up with a Mr. Rogers-esque persona in her life, because I'm clearly going to watch that movie. I'm going to go see it because I love me some Tom Hanks. And the ending of that trailer really brought a tear to my eye, truthfully, because
on the subway.
Because if you think about not just watching visually what it is, but the moment that it is that movie or that moment, an old frail man sitting on a subway train back in the 70s or 80s, surrounded by minorities, must have been very intimidating for him in a real world setting. And then you get these little, black kids shouting, "Yo, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers!" And, I'm only imagining in a real world setting of like, oh boy, here we go. And then everybody starts singing his theme song to him. And then he says, "That was beautiful." To me, that shows you the gravity he had on the world. And it's not just a movie. This is literally to show you humanity. Like, I know I'm probably maybe getting a little too deep on that, but just that's who he was. His character was to bring unity, to bring the poor, the rich, the black, the white, the struggling, the fortunate, to bring all of them together and say, look, we are no different than each other. And I just love that.
He did an episode with was it not his mailman? One of them, like the delivery guy,
the
black guy,
being a black guy in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
exactly.
He had like his feet. Mr. Rogers had his feet in a pool.
Yep.
And like he had him sit next to him and put his feet in, and people were like, "You can't do that.
We're equals."
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I hope people go see the movie because it just looks good. But that's that underlying message there. It's not just a movie. This is a message, especially in our day and age now, where so many people have become even more intolerable of just people's opinions, let alone your background or your ethnic group or your beliefs of this or that. Like, I think this movie is so appropriate in so many ways, and I'm so glad.
I would recommend seeing the documentary "Won't You Be My Neighbor" because that is really good as well.
He's just Mr. Rogers is great, and you know what? I'm just gonna do this right now. Won't you be my neighbor? Remember when he did that?
If he had a cardigan, he'd put it on right
now.
I
would too.
Man. Did you see the puppets too? Like they open the brief.
Oh yeah, man! All of
those are the real.
I bet you they are.
I love it.
They always creep me out.
They were a little weird, the cat one and stuff, because it's like, no, but yeah.
Creepy, but.
How you doing? And then trolley. I loved it. Man, what kind of drugs was he on to have a house built like that? Holy crap! He had a whole nother world on the other side of that drywall.
He really did.
You remember him feeding the fish? He would go in and right as he's walking in the kitchen.
The fattest fish on the planet.
Where are we going with this? What the hell happened?
Yep.
It's a beautiful day at the podcast. Alrighty then. Let's get right into Spider-Man. My night monkey has a Peter tingle. All right. It's been a little while since the movie's been out, maybe like a month or.
Well, like I said, we have lives. Unfortunately, we have lives. Somebody works 73 hours a week.
That's a lot of hours. A lot of cheddar, too. And by cheddar, I mean I spend all my money strictly on cheese.
That's how he's paid. They give him bags of cheese.
Bags of cheese, wheels of cheese, houses of cheese. They even gave me fake cheese because they just know I love cheese. First and foremost, before we even just talk about the Spider-Man movie itself, it grossed $1 billion. Wow. That's a big deal because there have been 7 Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire was in 3 of them. Andrew Garfield was in 2. Tom Holland's been in 2 of them. But he's had 5 appearances as Spider-Man already. Like, that's crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how true this is. I've seen it here and there that when the movie came out, if it didn't gross $1 billion, then Sony would get all the rights.
I had read rumors that that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
Like, had to make so much money.
Had to make $1 billion, or they got the full rights back to Spider-Man, and he was out of the MCU. Which, let's just live in a world of fucking hysteria and just try to make sense of this, okay? If your Spider-Man movie didn't make $1 billion with the backing of the Avengers behind it, and you rip that Spider-Man out of the MCU, what are you doing to the fans? A 100% disservice.
Yep.
You are saying, well, fuck you guys, we didn't make what we wanted, so now we're going to take him back. You can't have him. So how many butts are you going to put in the seats after that movie? Because I tell you what, and I've said it to you, I think I said it to you, if they took this Spider-Man out of the MCU at this point in time, I absolutely 100% would not watch Spider-Man 3. I would not watch it, and I am a man of my integrity and my word. I'm glad I can say I'm going to watch it now because it made the $1 billion. But that would have been a total slap in the face to what you've been doing to this point.
And if you're not going to recast Tom Holland, it's going to completely fuck up everything.
Exactly.
Because people are going to want it to be MCU. They're not going to want a completely different storyline.
No, exactly. Now that being said, I think with how much money it's made and it's making, you need to bring Venom. You need to bring Tom Hardy's Venom into the Spider-Man universe because it's just becoming so big now that you if you want to build your own universe of Spider-Man movies, you've got to have this Tom Holland in it. You can't have another Spider-Man in that universe and then in this one. It's just, unless you do a multiverse thing and explain it that way. But I'm glad it made $1 billion. That's awesome for Spider-Man. I'm not surprised either. The first week it came out, which it was weird, it came out on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But the first week it came out, it was already at $600 million. Inevitable that it wasn't going to be in the $1 billion club.
And you had such a high off of Endgame. People wanted more MCU.
Well, I was reading comments about that, and someone goes, for all those people that are saying, oh, it only made this much money because it was the tail end of Endgame, you're fucking, you're crazy because Ant-Man and the Wasp came right out after Infinity War, and that movie only made $600 million. Only?
Right?
Only.
Give me $600 million and watch me smile. And
Mark, what movie was I watching as you walked in?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. I was watching that movie.
It was on while I was
exactly. It was just finishing. I love that movie. So I don't think. I mean, I do think one has to do with the other, but Endgame was your biggest ta-da. You needed to see, and plus with Tony Stark dying in that, people wanted to see the post-Avengers world. I don't want to tarnish Spider-Man, but I think, I'll say 50-50 just so I'm saving myself. I think 50% of the people went to see Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man, and then another 50 went to see it because it's like, well, what happened after the events of Endgame? How do they explain that? So with both of those two elements together, that's what gave you $1 billion.
But they didn't really focus on that as much as
I
thought they would.
They focused on it in Spider-Man's world.
Yep.
Not overall.
I think people thought they were going to focus strictly on that and just put Spider-Man in it and not focus on him as much.
I think how they did it with showing you the blip and all that gives you the idea of, okay, that's how the rest of the world worked then.
Yeah.
I don't need to see security cameras of cars parked in one spot and then next second other cars and people are just coming into reality. My mind can create these scenarios themselves. I'm a very intelligent. I can do it. I can.
I do things.
I smarts. So yeah, here we go. The Spider-Man Far From Home movie review. The spoilers. We got to we got through all the grizzle, and now we're right into the meat. And this is my Spider-Man Far From Home little Lego setup. Look at all the kids I made. Look I even made a JB Smoove.
Oh my gosh.
He's got his backpack on and everything, man.
Yes.
Little JB Smoove.
Switches.
He was great.
And then for you, because I know you love him, Martin Starr.
Oh yeah.
Little Martin Starr, the other teacher. But I mean, I got a Miles. I got the Asian kid that was just a dick. Why did he have to be in it? What a dick. The Asian boy?
The one that blipped?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was a dick. He was like the Flash Thompson. He was like the bully. I didn't like him. But
he was just trying to get a piece of ass. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
Through the whole movie, that's all he cared about.
It really was. Like that just tells you his agenda.
He just wanted to fuck MJ. That's all it was.
Word.
She didn't want none of that Oriental Express.
She wanted that Spider-Man.
She wanted that Caucasian.
She wanted some web slinging.
Oh god.
Deleted scenes. Who wants to kick it off? Who wants to, you guys? I've been rambling. What do you guys want?
That's what you do, though. You know, it's
I'm a rambling man.
You're the clerk. That's what you know.
This is true. Ding ding.
Can we first start talking about the blip, like, because that was right in the beginning.
Hey, I have it. However, I mean,
still don't understand.
What do you mean?
Why they call it the blip?
I watched a video on someone. There is the snap. That's what they call the first. I think they call it the decimation.
Okay.
But I refer to it as the snap because that's
the
so
first snap.
Right, the very, very first Thanos snap. Okay. We'll give a little quick retelling of all the snaps that happened. The very first snap was in Infinity War, where it decimated the entire universe. Right. Okay. Then there was the second snap, which was the Hulk's doing.
Yep.
Which, in one of our last videos, I went on and said why he was so important after I thought why was he even in the movie. His snap was the blip.
That brought everybody.
Even though it was still a snap, his was the one that brought everyone back. And then there was the third snap, which Tony Stark did, which got rid of Thanos and all of his, minions. That's all that was. Tony Snap didn't create this. It didn't alter this. It just got rid of all the bad guys. Now we'll go back to the Hulk snap with the blip. There's the snap, and the reason... This is just the one person's review I watched that said what the blip is. The concept of they just... right back.
Just a blip and... Yeah.
It's just a simple way of categorizing it, other than saying the return or the resurrections or something so stupid. It's just like, look, there it is. That's all I got from it.
Okay.
I mean, is there more?
I don't get how people aged the 5-year gap.
Well, because there's still 5 years going on from when the first snap happened.
So no one else aged in those 5 years?
Anyone that got snapped out of reality, none of them aged.
Because he said to bring everybody back, but not change any of the events of what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not change, the future, just bring everybody back.
Right.
So that's why some aged and some didn't.
Right.
The ones that got snapped didn't age because they
and
were
you gotta take it as this. It's still comic book stuff. Because I often try to think of what the hell's the science behind this? There's not much. I mean, we live in a world where we try to theorize and try to understand the things that we don't understand, and some things are just left. That's just the way it is, unsaid. The more you think about it, it's like pulling a thread. Once you start pulling that thread, it all starts to come undone. You start to maybe not even understand it, but you start to question. Yeah, which I do that a lot with these movies. So it's just...
Okay. Just blip me out.
Yeah, that's pretty much the concept of it. We'll just go how I kind of have it right here.
Okay.
This is set, obviously we said that, set after the events of Endgame. You can feel it through the whole movie. Not really like you see the universe or the world like that, but you feel it through Peter. You feel it through Happy, which, god damn, he had a huge part in that movie. Oh my god, he was great in that movie.
Speaking of threads, that kept that thread of Tony Stark being
there, almost alive. Right, exactly. The opening scene was they were in Mexico, which I thought was kind of a cool throwback, because that's where they kind of found Thor's hammer and stuff.
Yeah.
Just, kind of, maybe that plays into Mysterio's idea of, well, Thor's hammer was found in Mexico. Let me create an event in Mexico, because his outfit is all based off of Iron Man's suit. The cape is based off of Thor's stuff. He's clearly somebody that wanted to be a hero, so he ripped off all these people to look so grandiose, so much like a hero, instead of looking like a villain. He looks, wow, gold armor's beautiful. That purple cape, he must be elegant. He's just very grandiose, and I loved it. But the opening was, Nick Fury and Maria Hill. They encounter Mysterio, which he is coming across as a good guy. And they're fighting the Sandman creature. I'd still refer to him as Sandman. And that's just the opening sequence, and you got those two heroes are like, what the hell are we doing? And Mysterio pops up, you don't want no part of this. And then, what an awesome opening. And that was the scene, if you went and saw Endgame, the re-release, that was the end credit scene they added, was that opening scene. It's why couldn't you have that in the movie in the first place? But maybe they just wanted you to just stay with what was there.
Right.
And then that cut right to the Marvel opening. And what'd you guys think of the Whitney Houston song being right there? That threw me right off.
Yeah.
I was like, the fuck is this?
Where's it going with it?
Yeah.
And then I thought it was a great opening.
Yeah.
I thought showing the two kids from their news anchor positions, doing a recap of the blip, the snap, it gave you the backstory without being it filled in throughout the rest of the movie. It gave you there it is. The first 10 minutes of the movie filled you right in.
It just shows you how smart they've been with this whole universe. It really does.
And I love that, because as a comic book character, or not character, I'm sorry. As a comic book
you
fan,
are a character.
I am a character. If you guys want to make a comic book of me, yeah, I can. I don't fight crime, I eat food, and I seldomly do that. I don't seldomly do that, I do a lot. It's my life. I loved it because the blonde-haired girl, is Betty Brant, and in the comics she works for the Daily Bugle, but in this she's clearly a child, so she can't. So I just think it's cool that they gave her that same kind of direction, but in a different light. To me, that's just that's paying homage to who she is. I like that.
I love the banter
between those two was great. Yes, it really was. It was really good. I hope there's some deleted scenes or outtakes with those two, because they were great. But they show you a tribute video in the beginning, which has Cap. For the people that they've lost, the superheroes, there's Tony Stark, Captain America, Black Widow, Vision, and Wanda. Now, I gotta say this, for these being kids, how the fuck did you get some of those videos, man? I'm pretty sure that one of Vision was him fighting in the airport scene from Civil War. How the fuck did you get that?
I don't know.
Yep.
And the only one that would have had it was Peter, and nobody knows he's Spider-Man till the end of the movie. How the fuck did you get that image, man? Nitpicking. But I like that, because that was that's cool. And it made me sad. It choked me up a bit, because it was these sons of bitches are pulling at my heartstrings. And I do have it as the video was done by Betty Brant and that other kid. I didn't know his name.
Yeah, funny.
They were funny, because he was the real character that we all were how the hell does this just happen? Does nobody else just think this is ridiculous?
We're just gonna let it go,
He was that guy that was trying to rationalize, how are we all just okay with this fucking big purple guy snapping everybody out of existence? How is this all right? That added a bit of realism to it, which was great.
Yep.
Spider-Man is a full-on hero in this movie. He's not just a street-level Spider-Man. He's not hey, are you that Spider guy? Do a backflip from the first movie. getting, you know, a $500,000 check for homeless people from Aunt May, you know, just doing all that stuff. Like, he's the hero that the world loves, which I thought that was great. It's all about him going on a field trip to Europe. That's pretty much the premise of this movie, and then that's when everything picks up. There's a little love between Happy and Aunt May, which I must say, the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like it, because she was a straight up, like, she straight up used him. Not used him, she didn't gain anything, but she strung him along.
Oh, yeah.
Because by the end of that movie, he was thinking they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and she's like, oh, no. I'm sorry. You don't just have a friend come to your workplace, sit down at your desk, and eat your lunch, and you're okay with it if that's not your boyfriend.
Yeah.
I've had girlfriends, and even then, they're like, get the fuck off my food. So, like, come on now, that's a little... And Aunt May, overall, I wasn't impressed with in this movie, because you think about the first one, when she's under the influence of not knowing who Peter Parker is, or not Peter Parker, knowing who Spider-Man is, she's saying to her nephew, Peter, if you see any trouble, you run from it.
Yep, I remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Okay. Now, in this movie, she knows who Spider-Man is, and she's
all about it.
She's forcing him to fucking do it.
She puts the suit in his goddamn suitcase.
Where he's the one that's saying, I don't want to do this. That is total character, like, undevelopment. Exactly. That's horrible, in my opinion, because if anything, she should have been like, no, Peter, you just died. You just fucking died for 5 years. Yeah. I don't want you doing this anymore. John Watts, you're the director. You fucked up. That's like the one like character thing. It's like I hate that. I hate that. What? Any loving family member would be like, no, I'm locking you in your. You're not even going on a school field trip, let alone fucking going down to the
chaperone.
Right. Exactly. I'm a chaperone.
Yep.
Exactly. Right. So that was a little off-putting to me the more and more I thought about it. What do you guys think of their relationship? You know, give me some feedback.
I think it added an interesting dynamic to it, but it was kind of out of left field. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Right. It was a good interaction between Happy and her, but it
gives them something to play with. But if it doesn't progress, then it was just thrown there just to say, well, Happy was in the movie. Yeah. Which he could have been. He could have been Tony's. Not Tony. He could have been Peter's, not mentor, but best friend, essentially. You know, because they both needed somebody. Because you clearly could tell, right? You clearly could tell when Peter's making the new suit and Happy's looking at him like, oh yeah. That's all you needed the relationship to be. Yep. And that was awesome. Like, we'll get into that, but like Peter and MJ. To me, she is not Mary Jane. They've never called her Mary Jane. Her name is Michelle Jones. MJ is good enough. I still don't like their relationship. I feel like I'm supposed to. Yeah. It doesn't feel organic. It's forced. I don't feel what they're doing is forced. No, I feel like they have decent chemistry. I just feel like that's the relationship I'm given, so I have to like it.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like, in the first movie, I liked that he had an interest in someone else, and this other girl was kind of there.
On the peripheral.
Right. Now it's like Peter just automatically likes her. Like, why? Why?
What happened?
Right, exactly. What happened?
It's not like he talked about her during Endgame or anything like that, or said, you know, I want to see her again or something like that.
Right, you know it just was that, it's there, this is the relationship you're getting, just accept it. They're great together, but some of their scenes too, like when they were on the bridge, I remember saying this to you after the movie, when they find out who Mysterio is, it's like, what are you guys just standing around talking like high schoolers for? There is a big fucking problem going on. Shut up and go. Yeah. Like, because I mean, think about it. In Infinity War, when Doctor Strange shows up and Tony and Pepper are having their moment, that moment's done and over with. All right, we gotta go. Yeah. Why are you stopping and having an intimate moment right now? Like, that's just. Again, I just feel like that's just the relationship. You have to like it, no matter what we do with it. Not that it's forced, but I did put there is some forced humor in the movie, which I thought there was. Yeah. I like Martin Starr, but I think a lot of his humor was very forced. Like the whole putting the camera up. Like, come on, dude, it's the 21st century. You're taking selfies with your goddamn cell phone, man. You're not like setting the camera up on the timer and...
I just love how just silly and...
Right, I like his silly quirkiness.
You feel bad, but you laugh at him, but because he's such a loser.
He is a loser, but it's like you're making him a loser.
Yeah.
You're making him
like
a loser.
The JB Smoove stuff just was there on point every time he was on screen.
I could watch that guy skin a cat. I don't know why I said that. That's kind of fucked up. I wouldn't watch him. I'd watch him skin a cat. He'd probably be funny about it. I'm skinning this goddamn cat. That's my JB Smoove for you. But he was just funny. He was random. Like I don't know where he came from. He wasn't a teacher in the first one.
No.
So I mean, I would have expected Hannibal Buress to make another appearance. But being a gym coach, I guess you really wouldn't take a field trip with the kids. But then again, whatever. JB Smoove was great. Everybody loves JB Smoove. I have Martin Starr and Smoove here as little topic. Betty and Ned's relationship I thought was hysterical.
Yeah, that was great.
That could have been forced, but it wasn't because it was just so random and just worked.
It's so typical though of kids that age.
Yes, to be like we are in a serious relationship.
Yeah.
And then like a week later,
Texting
like we're fine.
On the bus next to each other.
Right, like honey, come on. Oh, my girlfriend's calling.
And I love Ned so much more in this movie than the
He's
first
so
one.
great, and a lot of people actually not a lot of people. Grace Randolph hates him.
Yeah, I don't know.
She calls
why.
him the worst best friend ever.
I don't think so.
I'm like, he is the best best
kept that
friend
secret
ever.
for a while.
Exactly. And when Peter says in Infinity War, Ned, you got to make a distraction. We're all gonna die. That's the bestest friend ever, right there. I love Ned.
He's a great friend.
I love Ned Leeds. But the relationship I thought was cute and funny, and I was more interested in that than Peter and MJ's.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, because it was like, wow, they have a dynamic that I just can't see working, but it does. This fat Hawaiian boy and this cute little blonde chick, like why and when and
the airplane scene.
yeah,
Oh,
and then they just grab each other's hands in moments. It was like that's the relationship I want to see more of. Give me that. Flash, I thought Flash was. He's not really the character of Flash Thompson. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I haven't written on here. There's probably something specific about him I was gonna say, but
he wasn't as mean to Peter in this one.
No, he was much more watered down as a bully. But that Asian kid picked up the slack of being a bully.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Flash was just there.
Yeah, Flash was there because he was in the first one.
For the one moment to get punched, and,
I do love, though, because you said when we saw the movie, you were like, oh, I didn't know, like, Flash was such a big Spidey mark, pretty much. And I told you, I was like, oh, man, Flash is, like, Spider-Man's biggest fan. That's why it's so funny he's so mean to Peter, because he doesn't realize the 1 and 2 are the same, which could be very interesting going forward with the third movie now. Now him knowing Peter is Spider-Man. That could be a new dynamic for his character. But in the comics, Flash is also Agent Venom.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know if they'll ever go down that route or anything like that, but it's interesting to say the least. Now we're just gonna go right into the cream of the crop, the best, one of the best parts of the movies. Yeah, lay it on me.
Jake Gyllenhaal, I was speculating so much of seeing his canon of movies, thinking, how the hell is he going to pull this off? Mm-hmm. Because he is a great actor, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see the fit of him being, because you knew he was going to be a villain. You didn't know, I didn't know how to expect how he would fit into it.
And I remember having a conversation with you about Mysterio, who is so, in the comics, he is a movie special effects / theater guy. So his character is so grandiose. I'm Mysterio. I'm here to save the day. Like that's his character. And I remember saying that to you of like, I don't know how Gyllenhaal's if they're gonna do that. Blah 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 blah. And they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
They make him like when he's the hero. He's very
normal,
monotone.
When he's pissed off, he's over the top.
Not even pissed off, but like when they reveal him as as the villain,
Yeah.
that's where his ta-da! He
Yeah.
stands up on the table. He gets that.
Yep.
And that was the most epic moment in almost any Spider-Man movie I've ever seen, other than when they revealed Vulture as Liz Allen's father and the dad talk scene in that movie.
Oh.
That's my favorite Spider-Man moment in any movie, is the dad talk
Yep.
scene
Epic.
in Homecoming. Is my favorite scene ever. And this one is probably my second, when he is in that bar, because it was so awesome. We're going to skip right to that scene. There's a scene in the movie where Mysterio and Peter, I forget what they did moments before. They might have fought the Hydro Man.
Yeah.
I think they fought Hydro Man or something like that in that
Because
moment.
the camera got knocked out in that fight, right?
You know what? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember specifically that, but they were sitting in a bar, which that's kind of weird
It is
for.
weird.
But well, no, actually, I'm sorry. They're not even in America, so they can. They can. They're over in Europe. I was just thinking, never mind. But they're sitting in a bar, wearing their suits, which even that in the moment, I was like, why would you be out in public? Why are you in public not wearing your masks? But I didn't think any more of it than that in the moment. And Marcadius and myself, we went and saw it together. And so we're sitting there, we're watching it. They're having a moment of, realization that they're buddies, this, and that. They're talking about the sunglasses, which are basically Tony Stark's legacy. They have all of whatever the fuck's in them to do with anything. And Peter is so entrusted in Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck Mysterio that Peter thinks he's the next Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark.
He's looking for that father figure.
But that's also Gyllenhaal's ploy, is to look like the guy, act like the guy, pretend to be the guy, so Peter will entrust him and give him over the fortune, essentially. And he does. But before the reveal, when you guys saw the movie, I know you and I may have talked about it more in depth. I can't remember. I talked to so many people, I don't remember who I'm talking to anymore. Most of it's in front of the mirror by myself. But Mysterio Quentin Beck has this moment where they're talking about those glasses, and he looks over at Peter and goes, they were on the floor?
Yep.
Yeah.
When you first see it, my first thought was, you're careless,
He's
kid.
just being sarcastic. They were on the floor,
But now when you think about it, you go back, it's almost like they were on the fucking floor. All I had to do was just bend over and grab them.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even need you, kid. I could have just taken them from you.
Yeah.
I love that. I love when you can go back and interpret something differently than how it was first portrayed, because then it gives it a whole new feel. So then once that moment happened and Peter walks out of that bar, and you kind of see the world changing around Quentin Beck, because you're following the camera's panning around, and you see the illusion of the bar is so run down and shitty, and it's like, you heard me the whole time during that scene. I'm like, yes, this is it, yes. Like, I was under my breath talking about how awesome this was. And then there's the reveal of Quentin Beck in a mocap suit.
Get this thing off me.
Which I thought was brilliant. He was never even wearing the Mysterio suit. All of that was a ploy. Like, he was wearing the suit in that moment.
Right.
But any other time you see Mysterio fighting, it's all CGI. And not CGI because the movie itself, but because the man in the movie, the special effects well, not even special effects background, but the technology background that he created himself wearing the mocap suit that projected, it's fucking brilliant. Yeah. And then the concept of the fishbowl. Why would you need a fishbowl? Like, what is that? That's his HUD. Like, Iron Man had his helmet. Quentin Beck had his helmet, which was the fishbowl idea, which gives the character that look. I thought that was so smart and so brilliantly thought out. I loved it. And then the callback to Iron Man 1.
Yeah, with Tony Stark.
With William, the little guy, which I have to show you.
You made him? Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Right? Does that look like the little William guy? I mean, it's the best I could do. But the best part, here's my Mysterio. Quentin Beck. This callback to Iron Man. The suit he's wearing is the suit he makes in the cave.
Okay.
I had an extra one, so I was like, that's gonna be his little mocap suit.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my Quentin Beck and his, there he is, right there. Boom, boom, boom. I love it. So, when he revealed that guy who worked for Tony Stark and Obadiah Stane in the first Iron Man movie, that just shows you, like, okay, all these pieces have been here, and these things have been working in the shadows, and I love when they retcon things like that, and not just forcibly do it, like saying the kid from Iron Man 2 is they've confirmed, like, that's Peter Parker now.
That's weird.
That is weird, because Peter never even references, oh, when I was a little kid, I was saved by Iron Man.
Yeah.
Why would you not say that at this point, right?
Yep.
So you can retcon an original actor, bring him back, and say he's been in the mix the whole time. Sick. And just seeing that scene again, Tony Stark built this with a box of scraps in a cave! Like, I love that scene, and it was just like, that was in the movie. Like, they didn't even redo that. That was actually in the movie. That's awesome. It's great. And then to show you where Quentin Beck's character came from in Civil War. He's the guy that created BARF, that augmented reality system that Tony Stark was conveying was his idea. Yep. I just think that's so cool, and I did. I went back and watched Civil War, and I was thinking, is he in the background? Can I see him in? That they retconned in there a little bit. But it's like, that's so cool, because that gives you, when you go back and you watch Civil War, you can now think to yourself, Quentin Beck was there that whole fucking time. Like, that, I just love that. And I told you, when Civil War came out, people were saying the hot dog guy was going to be the Tinkerer. A disgruntled employee that got shot down by Tony Stark. Nope, it wasn't the hot dog guy. It was the barf guy. I love when they do that. I just think that's really cool shit.
That's awesome.
But the whole movie was Mysterio portraying to be a good guy, just so he could get Tony Stark's technology, and who knows really what he wanted to do with it. He never really had a master plan that he said. I just think he wanted to get...
He wanted the fame.
Right, he just wanted to get revenge on Tony and just basically take over his legacy. I think that's really all his idea was. But it didn't happen like that. He got made. His plan got foiled, but he had another master plan right at the end of the movie, like, which I thought was cool. You got to see the elementals. You saw a Sandman, you saw a Molten Man, and a Hydro Man. Now, even though they never called that in the movie, this Lego set with Hydro Man in it is called Hydro Man Attack. Okay, I'm told it's Hydro Man. There it is. Same with the Molten Man one. Even the director said, I got to do my version of those villains.
Right.
So there they are in the movie. I thought that was really cool, even though they were illusions. But again, this is what I don't understand though about the illusions. If they were fake, how did they cause destruction?
You used the drones to do it. The drones were weaponized.
Right, but how did the water have an impact on Peter? How did the lava actually burn
That's
things?
a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Some of the drones would like blow air.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. But then again, okay, I'm gonna nitpick that. If you have a drone, say this is on Molten Man, and I have all these drones inside me creating the image of Molten Man, how do I have lava dripping off of me actually burning the ground?
That's true. Yeah, that.
But then again, I guess that brings us right back to the more you pull that thread, the more you're going to unravel something you can't figure out.
Right.
You go with the punches on that shit, I guess. But I liked it. I liked the elementals. I thought that gave a whole different villainous fight vibe than you've ever seen with Spider-Man. Like, yeah, you've seen him fight Sandman in Spider-Man 3, so you didn't really need that. But to see him fight a guy made of water or a guy made of lava, it's like, how are you going to do that? And then it also took away from you never needed a fight scene with Mysterio and Spider-Man, because you never do get fight scenes with Mysterio and Spider-Man. What you did get were some of the coolest dream sequences or whatever you want to call them, the illusions. Man, those were fantastic. Zombie Iron Man. You saw a zombied Iron Man. That was sick. And that's totally a call to the zombie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Marvel zombie.
Yes. To see Tony Stark as a zombie come up out of the ground in the Iron Man suit.
Did it show his tombstone or anything?
Oh yeah, it showed the maggots all on his face.
Oh
like,
my God.
that's sick. I love that stuff. Like that was just awesome. And to see all the other Spider-Mans, like those dream sequences, they're beating. And I kept thinking of it is Scarecrow. When Scarecrow does those fear toxins and Batman sees those hallucinations, I thought to myself, shit, Marvel just beat Batman to the punch. When they do these things in movies, people are going to be thinking about, at least I'm going to be thinking about Mysterio doing it first.
And it didn't seem like it was going to end either. Like they were just going to keep going.
Like he was stuck in them forever. It was just, that was, they did, Mysterio is probably the best comic iteration villain other than Vulture. Vulture's personally my favorite villain I think they've ever done. He just was so comic book accurate. You can't, I don't think you'll ever, even in 100 years if they remake these movies, you'll never get as cool as that, I don't think. He was just so on point.
He was amazing.
He really was just phenomenal. The Elementals, like I said, we brought them into it. Uncle Ben's briefcase I thought was cool.
Yeah, I like that.
They talked about Uncle Ben in the first one a little bit, not even saying him, but just saying what Aunt May's been through. I don't want to put her through more stuff. Clearly that's a call to...
When was that?
Or the suitcase.
Oh, yeah, the suitcase. When he's packing the suitcase, it said BFR for Benjamin Franklin, or BFP, or whatever the hell it was, Benjamin Franklin Parker.
Okay.
Which I thought was really cool to show you he did exist. I still wanted it to be Tobey Maguire as Uncle Ben. I just thought that would have been cool as shit. No Stan Lee cameo.
Nope.
Not a single one, and they will not do any more Stan Lee cameos
which is fitting,
in future movies. His last one was in Endgame. That was the last one he filmed, and I thought I heard mumblings of they filmed scenes that they could interject into future movies, like they just made a bunch of them that they could just put in. Apparently not, which I thought sucked because Stan Lee is Spider-Man's baby, and it would have been cool, even if they would have, and I think a great cameo for him, and you guys are going to agree with me 100%, the best cameo you could have done for him was in the beginning when you showed the people you lost during the snap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Say Stan Lee was one of the guys we lost during the snap, when they're showing that tribute video. Just show Stan Lee's face at the end of that. Been like, oh, man,
It could have been like the janitor at the school or something. I
don't like yours. I like mine way better. I don't like your stuff. I don't like what you bring into the table. Dimitri, I gotta say him, the guy that was like Peter's chaperone for like
driving the car and stuff.
Now that guy specifically, I told you, I think I've mentioned this to both of you guys. Kraven the Hunter has a brother or half brother named Dimitri in the comics, and Dimitri is also known as the Chameleon. And the Chameleon is directly tied to Mysterio, okay? I think all that is still a big play that will be in future movies. So I won't go into it right now because there's a lot I could talk about with him, but just if he pops back up, just remember, okay, that guy might be something someday. Because there's a lot of talk that Kraven the Hunter will be a villain in the third Spider-Man movie, and he will actually be from Wakanda. Which I think that will be really cool if they can, instead of having him be an African, have him be connected to Wakanda, and he could be somebody that Ulysses Claw worked with that knows this stuff, and whatever. You could go down that road. I got to talk about the suits really quick. There was the Iron Spider suit in the beginning of the movie. He had the stealth suit, which I just thought was really cool. I love seeing him in the black sneaky suit. And then his new, not Iron Man suit, but Iron Man built-esque suit, which I thought was really cool. I hope to see that in future movies. And then that sequence, like we said, with Happy Hogan, seeing him build it, and you get to hear AC/DC come back, which was a cool callback. But it's like, fuck, man, why?
I think they used him just the right amount in that movie too. Like they didn't overplay his character in that whatsoever.
I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. Like I just thought he was so funny in that movie. And Jon Favreau, I'll give you a shout out because I went and saw Lion King with my daughter last weekend. Awesome movie. If you've seen the cartoon, this one will not disappoint you. And I'll say it right now, this is not a spoiler. It doesn't differentiate one bit from the original. This is the original movie, just updated CGI-wise. They don't try to throw this in there to be like, whoa, what if this? This is 100% accurate to the original movie, which don't be disappointed by that.
Right.
I mean, if you're going into it thinking, why didn't Star grow into a giant teleporting transformer in a Michael Bay movie or something stupid? Like, this is the Lion King. They stick to the script, and Jon Favreau, I thought, did a great job. So yeah, just throw that out there. There was a moment in the movie I thought was really cool with Spider-Man that it was totally a call to Captain America, where he picked up the trash can lid, someone threw the bomb, or no, he's got the bomb, and he's holding the shield like this, and he's swinging the bomb around. It's totally Captain America with the shield and Mjolnir from Endgame. 100%. But the ending of the movie was really cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Where it got, there was this big secret scheme going on. Mysterio died. I really don't want to believe that, because you can't kill off one of your greatest villains, especially if you're going to do the Sinister Six.
And you never said he was dead. They never said he was dead.
Right, they just show him.
Yeah.
Which, again, that movie is full of so many, what's the word I'm looking for? So many twists.
Yeah.
How do we know that's really him? They're dead.
Right.
It could have been a fake person. That could have been the Chameleon with Quentin Beck's face on it, who's pretending to be dead as Quentin Beck. There's so many cool little things that could have...
Yeah, they could have just had drones around a certain dead body,
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, with Chameleon, his thing is he can basically shapeshift in different disguises as people, which is this... I love that. I think that's just cool. But yeah, that's pretty much... the movie was Peter going to Europe, going on a field trip. Nick Fury comes in like, hey, we got to have you for this or that. Here's Mysterio. He's from a multiverse. You find out it's all a ploy just so that scheme can come through of him trying to be the next Tony Stark. It all gets foiled, and that's really the storyline. There's a lot of little pieces in between, though, that give you more stuff. Yeah. I went into this movie automatically knowing Nick Fury was not Nick Fury. You guys both could... Yeah, absolutely. I knew 100% that was not Nick Fury. I thought it was Chameleon. I remember you saying that, yeah. I thought Nick Fury was Chameleon. Wow. Because think of this. Spider-Man is now a worldwide hero after Endgame. It should not be difficult for the real Nick Fury to get Spider-Man's attention. He should not have to be calling him. He should not have to be...
He would just show up.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's Nick Fury. Look at Iron Man. He just showed up in the first Iron Man movie. He's in Iron Man's house without second guessing.
Captain America, he shows up in his apartment.
Just shows up. There's no runaround of, you don't ghost me. Now, did I know it was going to be Talos?
Right. That was an awesome twist.
No, I did not 100% expect that to be Talos. Do I like that? Yeah, I thought that was cool because it gives you like, whoa, where's this going, right? And even with like the red flag, and you said it because right after the movie you're like, why did Nick Fury say that about Captain Marvel? Of like, don't provoke her name.
Yeah.
It's like, why was he so like adamant? I'm like, whoa, don't say that one. It's because you find out it's Talos, and he doesn't want to piss Captain Marvel off apparently. And I thought that was cool. I loved that little twist and plot point and all that cool stuff. But we'll get into the end credit scenes real quick here. But as a movie, as a Spider-Man movie, as a MCU filler movie, what do you guys think? What would you give it? What are your overall thoughts?
I'd say a 9.
Yeah? Yeah. Where out of all the Spider-Man flicks, even including
all of them,
even including the ones he was not Spider-Man movies, but Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War.
I would say this is the best one.
This is your
this would
best
be my
one?
favorite one.
Okay. Marcadius, what do you think, bud?
I love Homecoming. That's like my favorite one.
Even throw in Spider-Verse as a Spider-Man movie.
Oh, if we're going Spider-Verse, I'm going Spider-Verse.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because we'll just say Spider-Man movies. We're not going to say his impact on the MCU, but just Spider-Man movies.
I would say Spider-Verse.
I'm still Homecoming is my
yeah?
favorite. But this one is like such a close second for me because I love the characters in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I give it like this one in particular. I'd give it a 9. I'll go with.
Okay.
I even say 9.
Now, for me personally, Spider-Man 2, Alfred Molina's Spider-Man 2, is my hands down favorite Spider-Man movie in the entire world. I still have, from when I was 14 years old, over there in my bathroom, the Alfred Molina framed picture of him as Doc Ock. It's my favorite fucking Spider-Man movie. This one is like shoved so far up that one's ass. It's so close. It's so if that one's
like 1 and 1A.
Yeah, it really is. I love the story in it. I give it a 9.5.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2, I give it a perfect 10. That's
a fucking 10.
A 10. There is no other MCU. I don't know. I don't want to say it like that. There is no other superhero movie that I can think of at the top of my head that I ever give a 10. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect Spider-Man movie in my eyes. This is so goddamn close. It's so close, and I give this one a 9.5. I give it a 9.5. I absolutely loved it. I really did.
Yeah.
I really loved this movie. I'm so glad it made $1 billion, and not just for the sake of staying with the Marvel universe, but just to say Spider-Man is there. There has only been, out of the many, many years of movie history, there has been less than 40 movies to make $1 billion. Less than 40 movies to make $1 billion. And I would say a good portion of them are the MCU movies.
Yeah.
Because of this movie...
MCU or Disney movies, pretty much.
I'm just saying MCU.
Yep.
I'm saying MCU because with the MCU, with the... I don't know how many movies in the Marvel Universe has been $1 billion. I know it's over 5 at this point, which sounds kind of small. But that's a lot of money for 5 movies to make, right?
Yep.
Captain Marvel did it. Endgame did it. Infinity War did it. Spider-Man did it. Black Panther did it. There's your 5 right there. Because of Spider-Man Far From Home, this movie has now averaged for every MCU movie to have made $1 billion. It's averaged that out. That's just crazy. That's $23 billion fucking dollars in an average of a whole for just those movies alone, not including your Disney movies. Because you think about it, you got Lion King that just came out, it's already at $1 billion. You got Aladdin that just came out, it's already at $1 billion. You got Toy Story that came out, I don't know if it's at $1 billion, but it's way over millions. You've got Mulan coming out, that it's going to do great because that movie looks awesome. You've got Maleficent 2 that's coming out, that's going to do pretty good because the first one did really good. You've got Star Wars that's coming out. It's the end of this year.
Fucking gangbusters.
You overall do that, you're at trillions. You gotta be, right?
Well, and Disney owns Avatar now, so because they bought 20th Century Fox, so they've got
Fuck
the original
Avatar. I will still never see it. And goddamn it, thank God, Endgame put Avatar second place.
Yep.
Endgame is now the highest grossing movie in the entire history of the world. And I love it because I am a comic book nerd, and this shit just shows to me that there is a place for this
and that
crap.
comes out on DVD in a couple weeks, and I'm
in a couple of
excited
weeks,
as fuck for that.
which I have to go to court that day, so it's kind of a bittersweet.
But then you go to Boston Comic Con a few days later, so
I'm so excited, and dude, fucking A! I gotta just say this. Todd McFarlane's gonna be there.
Yep.
And he's doing free autographs! Like, that's sick! I can't wait to meet him! Like, Spawn? Are you kidding me? That's one of my, favorite characters when I was a kid in the 90s. That movie was awesome, and I still love it.
Yep.
John Leguizamo, you're like your top one favorite actor
of all time. Yep.
is the clown in that. You can't. Yep. It's awesome. He's the Violator. You know, I love that. So we'll do the end credit scenes, and I want to give my quick little idea at the end for a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie idea, and then we're pretty much wrapping it up.
We're hour and a half in already.
That's not bad, honestly. I thought we were about 6 hours into this shit. So there are 2 end credit scenes, and we are going to skip the first because that's the first the end credit scene is Talos reveals that he was Nick Fury, and his wife, I don't have a clue what her name was Mrs. Talos. Very good. Mrs. Talos were Nick Fury and Maria Hill, and for whatever reason, Nick Fury wanted those two to portray them, to carry on his image and keep the shield. We're gonna the shield concept going of keeping the world safe, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
sweet. I didn't see that coming. I didn't think it was Nick Fury, but I didn't see that coming.
Me neither. So where is Nick Fury, everybody? Where do they show? Now, I thought he was in Tahiti.
Yeah.
I thought that was a callback to Coulson when they show him on the beach, but that's like a hologram, and he's actually up in space.
Yep.
Now he's up in space. I'm gonna look like an ass. Marcadius, could you do me a solid? I believe my phone is over there plugged in. Would you please grab it for me?
Which I think makes the line, you know, "Bitch, you've been to space," even funnier.
Even funnier because now Nick Fury has been to space, but it's Talos, which, yes, you could say that seems like a Nick Fury thing he would have said, but that doesn't sound like something Nick Fury would say. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
The way he said it,
The way he says it, right. I mean, honest, okay, this is how I want to say it. When he says, "Bitch, you've been to space," that doesn't sound like a Nick Fury thing. That sounds like a Sam Jackson thing.
Yes.
That's how I want to say that.
Yeah.
But I got to look up something right here. Not even look it up. I saved it to my phone. But Nick Fury is in space with all the Skrulls, which his last name isn't Skrull like the comics, but it's close.
Skrull, yeah.
Skrull.
It's close.
It's close. And come on, he's a villain. How does he do it? Something like that, right?
He snaps people's fingers.
He snaps the fingers.
Yep.
I like Marty Skrull. So let me see if I can find it real quick. You guys, what did you think? Like, what are your ideas on him being in space and stuff? I know you don't. Comic book wise, you have no fucking clue why. But
the last time we saw him was at the funeral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is confirmed by the Russos that is Nick Fury.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Talos standing in for him. That is 100% Nick Fury in that moment.
Good.
So from that moment to Spider-Man is when he went to space. Actually, there was a spot I forgot to mention in Far From Home when Peter is scrolling through his phone looking for something to watch.
Yeah.
They show, I know you guys can't see this, but they show, like it's like almost on Netflix. They show you like 4 different things you can watch. One of them is Thanos' gauntlet, which is called The Snap. The other one is called Finding Wakanda.
Yep.
There is one called Hunting Hydra. And then there is one called Nova, which is a British... I can't read what that is. I don't know exactly what it is. But the image is Dr. Eric Selvig from the Thor movies. So there's cool little Easter eggs in there.
Well, you know what? He looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson in that, and Neil deGrasse Tyson did a show called Nova.
Nova, exactly.
So
it's a play on that concept.
That's great.
Which, it'd be cool to see that guy, because he's like the better Morgan Freeman. Like his voice and everything, you know what I mean? I like that guy a lot. What's his name? Neil
deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, I like that guy quite a bit. That's my background on my phone. Isn't that sweet looking?
Yeah, Batman.
It's Batman. But this is what I truly believe, and I needed it. I can never remember this from the comics, even just the name of it. Like SHIELD, I can remember. Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement Logistics Division. All day long, I can recite that. But what I truly believe Nick Fury is doing in space, because when he created, not SHIELD, when he created the Avengers Initiative, it was to keep Earth safe from outside threats.
Yeah.
Now Thanos has been proven to be a way, way larger outside threat. We need to stop that before it ever even gets to Earth and not wait till it gets to Earth. There is another S.H.I.E.L.D.-esque group called SWORD. That is what I believe Nick Fury is creating in space with the Skrulls, called SWORD. And that stands for Sentinel World Observation Response Department. That is truly what I believe that is, which will be a huge factor going forward with more space exploration movies, more galaxy-driven stuff. I think that is going to be a huge factor.
You think they might do like a series on Disney Plus too, kind of tying into that too?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. With what they've been doing, I don't even. It's hard to speculate what they could do. It really, really is. But yeah, I'd say that because I can't ever remember that name. But that's what I think he's doing, which I think is cool, because then that, to me, you're gonna get more Nick Fury. You're gonna get more Sam Jackson.
And I think he loves playing that character
Me too, because it's, he loves being the motherfucker, badass, but to be this, I think he really does love it.
And he's one of the ones that ties the whole universe together too, so that's really cool.
Yep, absolutely. And even in our Phase 4 announcements, Kevin Feige did say there's a Black Panther 2, a Captain Marvel 2 coming out. So you'll see what happens in those movies. I don't know where they're going to go with Captain Marvel 2. I still think it needs to, her movies need to be time travel. Not time travel, but time place. Like her first one was in the 90s before the MCU kicked off. Yeah. I think the second one still needs to be that. Her movies need to be prequels to the MCU to set up
where she's been.
The stepping stones, exactly. Yeah. I want to see that. That's really it for that end credit scene. Now let's talk about the best mid-credit scene ever. In that end credits or mid-credit scene, Spider-Man and Zendaya Jane are swinging around, and she's basically, they land right in Times Square, right? It's Times Square. Yeah. And she's like, I don't ever want to do that again. And he's like, I gotta go be Spider-Man. And he's like, flips up onto the telephone or light post, and then you see, I need to know that guy's name, that news anchor's name, because he is like a news anchor in like every fucking superhero movie. He was a news anchor in the Dark Knight movies. Yep. Like, he's in everything. So like, this guy's obviously a news guy, so I kind of want to get his name right at some point, just because I like to be correct. But he's given this, breaking news. We have a video here from the battle that happened in London, and so he cuts to this video, and it's Mysterio, Quentin Beck, and he's created another situation where it looks like he's the victim, he's the hero, and Peter Parker, or not even Peter Parker yet, but Spider-Man is the villain who set up all those events, right? Oh, that enough is to be like, oh shit, their world's gonna think Spidey's a villain. And then what does he do? Tells him the name that, I know I'm skipping one little part, but I am saving him for the last. It gets revealed that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are one and the same. That's huge. They've never done that in any Spider-Man movies. Wow. It's almost kind of a weird nod to Iron Man. Like Iron Man kind of
revealing himself.
Yeah, Iron Man revealed himself. Right. But now Spider-Man's getting revealed out of his own control. So how does he deal with it? Like, he's got to cover himself up, opposed to Tony. Well, I'm just Iron Man. Deal with it. That's a whole spider web I can't wait to get into. Like, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a cool concept in the comics. In Civil War, when Spider-Man, he reveals himself in. You've read it. I've read it. In Civil War, he takes his mask off for the benefit of the Superhuman Registration Act with Tony Stark, reveals that he is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, but then there are war journals. I have the Punisher one I told you about. There are war journals that don't specifically stay to the narrative of Civil War. It lets you go off the beaten path with that specific character in that same timeline. In that timeline, Kingpin puts a hit out on Peter Parker because now he knows who he is. And in that, Aunt May gets caught in the crossfire and is a victim to all of that. I want to see that. How? How could Kingpin be a part of this?
Yeah, how?
Who's going to need a lawyer now that he has been outed? Peter Parker. Who is a lawyer in New York City? Matt Murdock. But wait, the Netflix contract. Marvel can't use those characters.
No.
There is a 2-year stamp on them not being able to use the Netflix characters. Rumor is the next Spider-Man movie is 2021 or 2022. You are out of the doghouse now. You can now reboot Matt Murdock and the Daredevil character and bring him into the MCU that way.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio would be
that
the
would be
greatest
sick.
fucking Spider-Man villain. He could be the big bad that they keep saying there's a big bad in the shadows. He could be that guy. I would love that. I mean, I love it so much. In my Spider-Man city, I built a Fisk Towers because I love the Kingpin.
Yep.
He's my favorite villain. The Kingpin is my favorite villain ever, other than Two-Face. He is the man. I love him. Like, there's one part. It's not even in a Spider-Man comic. It's in a Punisher, and Kingpin is saying, "I weigh 400 pounds. 399 pounds of me are muscle. 1% is fat." And it's just like, God, that's just so cool. Like, it's just, I love, because he's not a superhuman.
Yep.
He's just a behemoth, right? So this is the coolest part of that end credit scene. The coolest part, when they reveal all of this, they mention the Daily Bugle, which is enough to get me a boner, right? But no, I filled the fucking cup, guys. They showed him.
Refills?
Oh man, like I haven't even stopped. The tap isn't even run dry yet.
God.
They showed J. Jonah Jameson being reprised after 12 years. J.K. Simmons.
Fucking amazing.
J.K. Simmons.
You were jumping out of your chair.
Mark, I punched you in the arm like 3 or 4 fucking times. Did I or did I not?
You did.
I went crazy. I'm like shaking because it's just,
Oh man.
that is true respect to your
That's
fans.
the ultimate throwback.
It really is.
is.
Unless you had Tobey Maguire in this,
Yep.
you couldn't have done any cooler fucking thing. And I don't even care that he doesn't have the flat top. He has the little mustache. It's their universe's Jameson.
I think that's cooler than if Tobey Maguire was in it. Really.
I'm not gonna say that.
Well, for me, I think so.
I'm not gonna say that. But it's, you could only make that cooler by putting another original character in it. That's totally like, because in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, there was always the rumblings of, is there going to be a Daily Bugle? Is there a Jameson? They mentioned the Bugle in the second one, but even they knew they couldn't do a Jameson because, like everything, you're going to think of this guy.
Yeah.
These guys were smart enough to be like, look, people are going to say, fuck it, he's the same character, but it's this service to the fans, and they're going to eat it up. And I did. I can't wait for there to be a J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson Funko.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm hoping there's a Comic-Con exclusive one when I go to Boston, maybe. Something, because I need that. But it was just so awesome to know Jameson is in this universe. He can say Spider-Man's a menace, and he revealed to the world that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. That's something he wanted to do in the original Spider-Mans he was in.
Yep.
It is such a cool turnabout of character, and I love it. I just love it. And even if he's not in the third movie, I don't care.
Yeah.
He exists in this universe. He is in this movie. But with that right there is the reason you got $1 billion movie.
Just that one end credit scene.
Mm-hmm. I believe
to
it.
John, yeah.
To me,
yeah,
that is like I hope he got a good chunk of money for that. I really do, because he knows the love that character is. Because I mean, look at he even fuck it. I was in Justice League. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, I was in that movie.
Like, nobody gave a shit about that. Like I mean, I love J.K. Simmons, but I don't fucking care.
Yep.
I didn't care. So to bring him back, I just think is brilliant. You don't even need a Daily Bugle like newspaper building, because you're in the 21st century now. Your news is all digital media, and that's what he is. He's like the Alex Jones, essentially of what he does. And my hat, which is a Pizza Planet hat, which is Disney, which is all coming together. I just think that was just the coolest thing they've ever done, period, in a Marvel movie. I love it.
It was so unexpected.
It truly was. You weren't, because like I said, the fact that Mysterio said Spider-Man's the villain, essentially, that's enough. You could have ended your credit scene right there.
Yeah.
And then you come out and say, the Daily Bugle, and it's like, oh shit, that's enough right there too. And then you show Jameson. And Spider-Man is a scumbag piece of shit. He didn't say that, but like
he meant it.
In a perfect world, he would have said it. Like I love that, man. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
And my quick little like wish, if they did a Spider-Man like Spider-Verse kind of concept, if you're gonna do a Sinister Six, this would be my perfect world Sinister Six. You say Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man exists in Tom Holland's world. Say that universe can cross over. Say Andrew Garfield's universe can cross over, and those three Spider-Man need to come together. Why? Because you've got Electro, Jamie Foxx's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man, Paul Giamatti's Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man, Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home, Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church is Sandman from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Mans, and the leader, Doc Ock, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock from that Spider-Man. You take two villains from each of those universes, have them cross over to conjoin into be like, look, there's two of us, there's two of you, let's go together. Oh, there's two more villains, let's throw them together. Make the ultimate Sinister Six and bring in your Spider-Verse characters that way. And I think there was a missed opportunity, and I don't want to even say missed opportunity because that end credit scene was so epic. I think if you added anything to it, it would have just. Yeah. But it would have been cool if when they showed Peter Parker's face and Peter Parker's face and Spider-Man's face like side by side. I think it would have been sweet when they showed Spider-Man like, oh no, like that. Show him. And then just take the camera, pan down, and then you see Donald Glover standing there, who is the Prowler.
Yep.
You see him standing there like, just as a nod to be like, oh, he's still in this universe, and he's watching it too, but the camera keeps going. The nephew, who is Miles Morales. And you just leave the camera on his face like, I want to be a Spider-Man. If that guy's a Spider-Man and he's a kid, I want to be a Spider-Man. I think that would have been a cool little like just to throw that in there. Like I would have loved that, because Into the Spider-Verse has opened my mind into like do it with live action. Why do it with live action now? Yep. I just think that would be brilliant. And Sam Raimi, I gotta say this too. Sam Raimi, the guy that did the first three Spider-Mans, congratulated the new Spider-Man movie, and they actually contacted him to ask him permission to use J.K. Simmons in the movie.
That's
cool.
Which
really cool.
I think that is so awesome. Because Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors. I've seen almost every movie he's ever done. You've watched Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like him.
I like him.
Sam Raimi is just top notch. And I think that is just a lot of respect and kudos to him. So on that note, 6-hour podcast episode. We'll end it right here and there with Spider-Man Far From Home. You gave it a 9. You gave it a 9. I gave it a 9.5. I think that's great for a Spider-Man movie. $1 billion club. Good for that. Can't wait to see where this character goes. Can't wait to see how these characters all interact over the next so many years. I don't even know what their plans are at this point. I'm going to do more research so we can have more info next time. Sorry, I got a little flustered. I love Spider-Man. But again, this is the Comic Shop. We are the Comic Book Wrestling Podcast. I am the clerk, only for this one. Ace, the wild card Williams. This is...
Oh my God.
This is
Deadly Dave.
Deadly Dave, and he is also known as
Marcadius.
Marcadius. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a great time, and we will be back sooner than later. Enough said.